Tesla's still very cheap stock. I can't find other mega cap stocks. You can look at Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google that are growing their volumes at 30 to 40% per year that trade at 30 to 40 times earnings. There's just nothing else out there like it. And to your point, it came down last year because it had to cut price in China and the US. But you're going to see huge volume in the first quarter. It's capturing back, a lot of the volume that it lost. And what we found when you look at price wars going all the way back to Marlboro Friday back in the 1990s, usually when the market leader cuts price, they have the most room, the most ammunition to cut price because they make the most gross profit. So in this situation, we've seen like Ford Mach-E has cut price. Tesla is going to be the winner in this price war, as most market leaders when they cut price are. So we're not that worried about, a lot of the competition coming. We've been hearing that for years, and it really hasn't impacted Tesla that much.
This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. I want to also thank our Patreon supporters as well as our subscribers. If you enjoy the show, please take time to like and subscribe. So first, we wanted to thank all of you for taking time out to view our Tesla to $200 a share show. As you know, we breached that briefly a couple of days ago, and now finally are doing so with authority with the price rising. So the question that pops up is, well, what's next and why? Well, I have to say that this is Tesla's always interesting in terms of how things move, because typically you have a cycle where sort of news comes out, the hedge funds drive the stock higher, and then we have large institutions sort of following on. This is kind of a strange, interesting situation because, as you saw from our initial comments by Mr. Black, there's a process where large institutions sort of determine whether or not a stock is inexpensive, priced about right, or way too expensive. So we've had a sort of battle going on with Tesla recently. There are sort of two schools of thought. One school of thought, which Mr. Black articulates, is the fact that, in essence, a company with 30 to 40% growth on an annual basis that's a mega cap like Tesla, there's really only one entity out there for large investors and institutions to buy, and that is Tesla. Because most of the other companies are, be it a Google or an Amazon, some of the others, in theory they're still growing, but as you know, they're firing a lot of employees. So the economy and other things are impacting what they're doing, hence the changes I just described. So the big, in quotes, question is, what's next? Well, there's a kind of a relationship between Tesla's productive capacity and how many vehicles are being sold, and therefore what the growth rate is, and therefore what the stock price is. So I'm impressed with Elon's management of Tesla from many angles. One of those angles is, if you look around globally, one of the arguments against Tesla was, well, it's a relatively small company with a narrow footprint, and therefore it shouldn't get the valuation that it has, which is really a reflection of growth rate. Well, the reality is what Tesla has been building for in each of its factories is eventually getting to about 1 million vehicles per year produced, at least, at each of the major facilities that are now in operation. And that is China, that is Fremont, that is Austin, and also in Germany. So if we go for ballparking it, 1 million vehicles a year per facility, we start to pull above 4 million vehicles heading for 5 million, just with the manufacturing footprint that Tesla currently has. And so, in essence, Elon/Tesla has set up not only for the 30 or 40% growth from 1.2 million to just under 2 million vehicles this year, they're setting up for continued growth at a similar pace over the next several years. So these are the kind of details, short and long term, that support the price target and current price, and I believe price targets in the 400 to 500 range. So the next thing that I wanted to look at on this is, well, there's a question mark here of if in fact the new factories are capable of these huge numbers, sort of what's going on with current production. As you know, 3,000 vehicles a week from the two new factories times 4 weeks in theory is 12,000 vehicles. And so we multiply that by 12, we're in the approximately 130,000 vehicles per year from the two new factories. Now, is that good? Yes. Does it break even? Yes. Does it contribute significantly? I believe that what we're going to end up seeing is numbers coming out of those facilities that were greater than expected. So, for example, if they got up to 1,000 vehicles a day per facility, we could now, in theory, double the number of vehicles coming from there. And that influences the number of finished vehicles for the year, which goes on to impact the sense of the growth rate of the company and profitability. Could this happen? Well, when you look at the average price of the Model Y is $60,000, and the semis are going to be selling in that 250K range, or 5 times. Their way is on the side in things like the storage business, the construction of the semi, and even the start of the production of the Cybertruck. There are all these sort of hidden pockets of new sales that drive Tesla's sales and profitability forward faster than expected. So overall, what I wanted to suggest then is that I believe we're on the cheaper side of where Tesla should be, because they've got the production facilities all the way back, supply chain to the mines, etc., to continue their growth run and expand it. So where are we short term? Well, I believe our first sort of bump in the road, and I was surprised to learn that my charting buddies confirmed this, is around $240 a share. The reason that I want to say it's a resistance level is that if you look at the growth rate of the company in terms of revenue and profits, and you simply do a calculation of what the revenue profit should be for this year, you end up with a net price of the stock being about $240 a share. Kind of what goes on post that, I think that as we get to that over the next week or two, we now have an interesting circumstance where the question is, will Cybertruck give us the start, and then growth of Cybertruck, will that give us the kind of numbers that really go beyond the expected that was stated by Elon? And I think the answer is yes. We just don't know number of vehicles this year. We have a sense for them next year, I suppose. And then we also have the 50,000 units of semi that Elon has discussed. So in general, I want to congratulate you on having taken on the $200 price target we talked about successfully and made some money in that arena. I think that, we end up fully valued based on current growth rates up in that 250 or 240 realm, plus or minus $10. And then from there, we're really waiting on, is there significant news on March 1? And do we see things on the street that reflect that news? I have to say that my biggest question mark on where Tesla is going is Tesla's current vehicles are not bulletproof in terms of putting bullets through them. The Cybertruck is bulletproof. It's the stainless steel that's being used is more challenging to work with, and I would imagine that if you have bulletproof glass and sidewalls of the vehicle, that your costs of that portion of the vehicle is going to be higher, and your vehicle costs without bulletproof for the Model Y is $60K. So it makes a lot more sense to see Cybertrucks starting in the 70s or 80,000s for the lower end models and rolling all the way up to perhaps $150,000 or $200,000 on the high end. And I think that those price points will actually shift the number of buyers significantly, and therefore impact how Cybertruck impacts Tesla's revenue and profit. So again, congratulations. Happy to see a lot of folks made some good money. We look forward to more of the same from Tesla over the next couple of weeks, heading for 240, maybe 250. And hopefully we end up in the 400 range to 500 as we close out the year. Want to thank you again for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, German, au revoir, French, Lehithro, Hebrew, Chodah Havez, Farsi, Strasvice, Russian, Ni Hao Ma, Chinese, Konbanwa, Japanese, and in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good man. Just a reminder of your 25 leg lifts per day as a management tool for no knee or operation issues in that space. And do not go to bed within 4 hours of eating, minimum 2 to allow the food to digest. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.